Hey, I did say I would do this, and hey, hindsight is a cool name for these types of videos. This will be an improvement compared to the last video talking about a synergy for RTS game modes. Today I will go over the budget female lineup. I went over it basically in my last Kasana video where I explored how even at gray quality she is still useful in the RTS game modes. Now I will be going through the battle line mentioned, featuring the main commanders being Jeane, Enzo and Leila, or a gray level Kasana. You can swap out Enzo for any other active skill damage commander in this lineup and even use Danny, as I will go over later. So yes, this can be a low spending or even free to play lineup, but how does it stack, and is it even any good? Let's begin. Maybe we should start getting a bit
serious about these topics. Yeah, your daddy Raga is back. Speaking of this active skill lineup, we have the commanders Jeane, Enzo, and Leila we will be focusing on first. With Jeane being purely a buffer for your next active skill, you must have Enzo come after Jeane, and Leila, which you don't need for this lineup, but she will give a 35% chance for commanders to trigger their active army skill again, along with boosting your cavalry attack by 1800%. Since this is a more budget commander active line compared to the max lines, I will be fair and say these will have 1500% base attack stats compared to the 2000 stats I will have for maxed level lines. This is to keep it grounded, and generally these are the expected stats of these types of lines anyways. For this we have Enzo dealing active skill damage. This is before any buff is applied. And here we have with Jeane buff. It is a considerable difference, and with Leila effectively 1 out of 3 triggers will be double damage. But why use Jeane over a commander such as Salma, or another commander that uses active army skills? Let's put it to the test. We have the same lineup used before, and the second will be using Julian and Enzo, as they have the same damage coefficient, along with Julian having the extra effect of increasing the target's damage taken by 40%. This buff won't work against Lost Realm bosses, so keep that in mind. So we have 2 commander active skills, the first triggering at 10 seconds, the next at 15, then Leila at 20, with every 5 seconds a new skill after that. 625 damage starting at 10 seconds and every 15 seconds. So what is a 30-second engagement? You will deal 4 active skills, with 1 being by chance an additional trigger, so 3125 damage coefficient. For every 150 damage coefficient is 1 normal attack, so you deal 20.83 normal attacks worth of damage. This is just considering their skill damage and not the buffs they apply after. With Jeane in introduced, it is not all too good, with your active skill dealing a bonus 60% damage. This adds up to exactly 1000 coefficient, so our total damage over 30 seconds of battle would be 2000, since we only get 2 commander active attacks from Enzo. If you are lucky enough to get an additional trigger, it matches the double commander attack line. But it will be inconsistent. So then why use Jeane? To be fair, she will allow higher quick burst damage with you line, assuming you multi-proc Enzo's active skill, dealing 2000 coefficient compared to the double commander active with an extra trigger from Leila will deal 1875 damage. That does rely on a bit of luck with your line, and this line does get better as soon as you get a blue quality Sinel who will add 600% cavalry attack when your commanders use their skills. If you have Sinel at higher qualities, you probably already use her along with a high level Danny in your lines anyways. What about if your Danny is low leveled? Is she good for this lineup? Most players would at least have a gray quality Danny or even green just for rebel leaders, so we will go with the gray level to show off. Here we have her in a lineup meant to showcase the rage recovery buff and the impact it would have on the lineup. Both armies are at 2 times speed. So yes, there is a considerable difference, but what about the damage output? Purely from the coefficient, this scales based on the number of targets, where against 1 opponent your Enzo line will deal 1000 coefficient, while your Danny line will deal 160 damage. But with 5 targets, Danny jumps up to 800 damage coefficient. While the damage I am showing here is for Enzo expect damage output compared to Danny against 1 target and Danny against 5. This is not all too accurate when you consider upon the second commander attack Danny triggered nearly 2 seconds faster than Enzo, and will continue to trigger her skills much quicker than Enzo will in a prolonged battle. So something more accurate will be like this. So quicker output, but the damage of a gray Danny is very lacking compared to gold Enzo and will still need 5 targets to maximize this. These stats will be doubled as soon as you get a green Danny who deals 200 damage coefficient to up to 5 targets. So yes, she will perform better, and this will be more noticeable in Siege of Winterfell. But is this a good line? Well, this is not some crazy mainline top players are going to be rushing to use. This is a solid synergy for lower spending or free-to-play players who have access to the commanders, but nothing overly special with synergy. So this can make for a good secondary or third cavalry line in events if you want to deal damage and not be using a supporting-based line, and beyond that it is just good synergy and decent burst damage potential for players interested in something a bit different. Thanks for watching.